Hi everyone, in this video I'm going to be making these really cute miniature rolling pins. These are super fun for the holidays because you can paint them any colors to match your seasonal decor, and then you can just choose whichever words that you would like to put on them. And so it's a really easy and quick project, and in this video I'm going to show you how to make them.
Okay, let's take a look at the supplies for this project. At first, let's look at rolling pins. This particular pin I'm holding comes in a set of 6. I will link to all of the rolling pins below in the description, and also I'll pin the comment to the top that also has these links in it. This is the only rolling pin that I got that actually has a roller that moves. So you notice when you hold the handles, the pin will actually, it's a separate piece, and the rolling pin actually spins around. This next set comes in a set of 3. This is the one that I actually used for the project today. This is only one piece, so you can still paint the handles a different color, but just want to point out the rolling pin actually does not move. For what we're doing with the cute decor display, it's just perfect. Now, this third set are miniature, really small rolling pins. They're also only one piece. You see, they do come in a set of 6. These are pretty short. These will measure out at 5 inches, which is really great if you have a small space, a small tray, a small something. It's a great size. These others are around 7 inches. So again, I'm going to link to all 3 of these rolling pins below, just so if you're interested in looking at the prices, checking them out, you can see where I got them. The prices are all pretty good. Again, for a DIY project, this is a great way to add some fun seasonality without spending a lot of money. You do need painter's tape. That's what I use to tape off the sides so I can paint the handles and have a nice clean straight line when I'm doing so. You do need some paint brushes. I'm going to link up to the ones I use. I love these paint brushes. In that bucket, I think that's probably 2 packages. It might be 3 packages of them, just because I have a size and I don't want to need to rinse it out to keep using the sizes depending on the project that I want. So I have multiple ones of the same size. And those come, I think when I bought them, they come 2 packs together. I am using the Waverly chalk paints today with the pumpkin orange and the ink black, since these are going to be Halloween rolling pin decor. I think they're perfect. I have a little paint tray. You can pick these up anywhere. You can get a tiny one at Dollar Tree for $1, even Walmart for $1. This one was a couple dollars just because it's a little bit deeper. I like it because I have a little more room to rub my brush off on the side of the cup, and then of course I can just rinse it all out when I'm done. Oh, and I also have this really cute mini buffalo check ribbon that I'll tie around the edge of each of the rolling pins and tie a little bow. Okay, so I shook both bottles of paint and poured them into the paint cups, and then used my painter's tape and wrapped it tightly around each of the handles to make crisp lines for the paint. Okay, so once I get my painter's tape around the edge, I'm ready to go ahead and start painting my rolling pin. I'm going to start with my edges here. Of course, I have it taped off, but I do want to get this little side part. I want that to be colored the same color as the rolling pin. Now, I love this chalk paint. It does usually take me a couple of coats, but this pumpkin color is just amazing. I love this chalk pumpkin color. It's so great for Halloween. I've done so many things in this pumpkin color, and there's a great blue. I think I might pull into some other projects. I just love the Waverly Walmart paints. The little bottles that you saw me pouring here, those are only like $1.69. They have the bigger bottles, which I actually have a lot of the bigger bottles. I can't remember. I feel like those are about $4, $5, maybe even $6, but you get a lot more paint. Those are a better deal. I just still have some of these little ones like this black. I probably should have grabbed my other black because it was kind of dried up. Like I'm not sure what I did if I didn't have the lid on very good. All right, so I have that. I do want to come here and get my edges again. Again, I think that just makes it a really cute detail to have this little lip kind of coming around. It's all one piece, but it makes it look like 2 pieces if you kind of treat this bigger piece the same, like with all the same color. And that tape, as long as you have it tight around there, the tape is going to really look good.
Darn it. Okay, so once I get that first layer on, I just need to let that dry. I'm going to make sure I was really smooth, that I don't have any weird lines right there. All right. What I'm going to do is kind of lean that, on there like so. All right, now I'm going to take my black paint. I'm doing one orange and one black. So now I'm going to do my other one in the Waverly black. This is called Ink. And I also love this for projects. I use the other normal acrylic paint too. That works really well. I've done some projects with the regular paint, but I just really love this Waverly paint as well. So I usually tend to go to it first, especially small projects where I'm not even using that much paint. It is a little more expensive, like the other paint. The other acrylic paint's only about 50 cents a jar, so obviously it doesn't cost quite as much, but it's all pretty economical. I'll link below to all the pieces that I'm using today. I'll link to all 3 of these rolling pins and my brush, and I'll try to find the paints on Walmart, anything to make it easy for you. I'll link up in a comment. I'll link it in my description, or like I'll pin a comment just to make it fast for you to get there. I'm curious if you do tiered trays, what all you've been putting into your tier trays. I love tier trays. I have about 5 of them in my house. I'm a little obsessed. And I have fun trying to figure out what to go in them. Sometimes it's challenging because they're not very big. And so you've got to find small scale things, which is what makes these rolling pins like so perfect. I'm going to do another blog post with blocks. I love making blocks. And the blocks I'm using today, I got from, I think, Hobby Lobby. And it's a whole bunch of blocks for like $7. And I use my coupon. And it makes each block, less than $1 a piece. And they're just really cute for tiered trays. And you can make the colors match, all the other things that you're putting in there. So I'm going to show you how to do that too if you want to kind of match up something along with your rolling pin. You might want to watch my other video with the blocks that I'll do words on that as well. Okay, so once I let the paint dry for a couple hours, it's time to go back in and get a second coat of paint onto my rolling pins. I like to do my second coat of paint before I remove my painter's tape. And so it does take a little bit longer. If you're rushing, you may end up doing it a little bit differently and then just retaping your lines. For me, I wasn't in a big hurry, so I went ahead and got the second coat onto my rolling pins before I did my handles. Once I wrapped up with this orange paint, I did move over to the black paint, and I got another second layer of black paint onto the black rolling pin as well. So once my rolling pins dried, I went ahead and removed the painter's tape from the handles, and I painted my handles opposite colors of the rolling pin. So you'll see on my black pin, I painted the handles orange, and on my orange rolling pin, I painted the handles black, which I think were just really perfect for Halloween. Okay, so my mini rolling pins are dried, and it's time to put my words onto the rolling pin. And I decided that I would cut letters from my Cricut, and so I am going to put on these words that say trick or treat onto one of them. And then I have another word, which is boo, that I'm going to put on my other rolling pin. It was kind of tough. There are so many great words. Spooky, happy Halloween. Oh gosh, there's so many different words. I'll put those in my blog post, all the different words that are great options for Halloween rolling pins. So basically, I already cut these. I used the font called Skinny. The Skinny, I got it on font.com. I've also used Arial for my rolling pins as well. And that turns out really cute. And so I've already taken that vinyl. This is just regular vinyl. And I've already put it onto transfer paper. And that's what you see here is me just getting the letters to stick after I started to put the transfer paper on.
It really just takes a couple of minutes to get each of those letters pressed and moved from the contact paper or transfer paper onto your mini rolling pin. So I wrapped up my trick or treat rolling pin and I was ready to jump onto the next one. I think this one turned out really cute. I kind of debated about doing trick or on one of them and doing treat on the other, but I just decided to go ahead and put the whole phrase just on that first one. And then I decided on my black one that I would also use white vinyl and just put the word boo. I've seen a lot of different colors. You could put the orange vinyl on black and the black vinyl on the orange. I just thought it would be really cute to keep the lettering the same and then to keep the ribbon the same. So that's how you're going to see me do these today. So that's it. I think the two rolling pins, I think they are so darn cute. The trick or treat and the boo. And now all I really have left to do is to take my ribbon and wrap a little ribbon around each to give it that extra touch. Okay, so it's time to put a ribbon on. I cut about 3.5 inches. That's about the length I need to get around my mini rolling pin with just a little bit extra. I've got my hot glue gun heated up. If you want, you can just tie your ribbon around here. I like my bow to be a little flatter and I like it to face this way. So I just kind of take a little bit different approach. Again, I always say there's no right or wrong way, but I'm actually going to glue this first and then I'll glue a little bow on it. So I'm trying to measure it. And by the way, these funky things, I have burned my fingers so many times. And so these are little silicone covers for your thumbs and your fingers so you don't burn when you're using a glue gun. I love these things. They come in like this little box. I'll link it below. I love these things. They save me. Okay, so I'm just going to, first I wanted to see where this is going to come up. So when I wrap this up, this right now is coming up pretty high. I want it to come up and meet right about equal with the word boo because I'm going to have the bow on top of it. So now I'm feeling like that's a much better place for that ribbon to end up. So I'm just going to put a little dab of glue right here. Just a little dab. And then that's the other nice thing about these is I can just press down and if they come through, it does not burn me. I like that. Okay, then I'm going to place glue all along this ribbon right here like so. And then we will pull this ribbon up onto that ribbon. And I can trim up, like you can see my ribbons kind of fraying just a tad bit. It'll be covered anyway with my bow, but I can still kind of trim that up as I need to. Okay. All right, looks like I got a little string here I need to trim up. I'm not going to worry too much right now about that. Okay, so you can see here I've got my my ribbon glued on, and now I need to glue my ribbon onto my other one. So I'm just going to do the same thing. I want to get it placed on here because I want the end of my ribbon, don't want it up at the top because I don't want to see it. I want my bow to cover it. So I've got to just pull this down. And sometimes you might find that you just have too much ribbon and you need to trim it. It's kind of a hard balance. You want to have enough ribbon to really be able to glue it to each other, the pieces, but you don't want so much that it's like peeking out too much either where it's wrapped around twice. Okay, I feel like I'm in a good place here. So I'm gonna just, gonna hold my ribbon here and I'm gonna glue it all along here. And then just press this into it. And here you see I've got that ribbon on there as well. I'm going to trim that little piece up too. Again, not that you'd really notice it, but all right. So I'm going to take these little silicone things off until I use this again. And now I need to get my bows ready that I'm just going to glue right on top of there. Okay, so to make my bows, I cut 2 pieces of ribbon about 12 inches a piece. That's a pretty good size to be able to make just a small little shoestring bow that fits on something of this size. A little bit extra just so that, you know, you aren't tight. I hate making a bow and being tight on one side. It's still kind of tight, but it's enough. So you can see I'm just wrapping this around just like I'm tying the bow on my shoestrings. And it's never going to look right the first time. First of all, you're never going to get it, or I never get it, you know, equally sized. So one of my tails is always a little bit longer. Again, that's what the 12 inches kind of helps you do, so you don't have to worry. But it's a lot of maneuvering within the bows, within the tails, kind of making them the size that you want to, you know, making the loop bigger, making the tail longer. It's just a lot of kind of back and forth. So don't worry if you make your bow and you don't really like the way it looks. It takes a little bit of effort and work to kind of get things twisted and sized, you know, how you want to. I always like to fluff out my loops. That makes a huge difference. When those loops are really flat, they don't look so good. So once you get them kind of sized, and then also I'll call it fluffed, it's just one loop, but kind of get your finger, your thumb in there or whatever and get it kind of looped out, it can make a big difference. And then once you finally get it to that size that you're looking for, then you can just trim off those tails and you're ready to go. You know, some people like to trim them flat, some at an angle. I tend to do mine at an angle. There's no right or wrong way. Or you could even do like the cut that is like in the middle, it kind of goes up towards like a diamond shape. Now, once I've got this cut, what I want to do is take a look at my rolling pin and find that line again, because I'm going to glue the bow right where those ribbon pieces met. Again, this is going to cover that up, so it'll kind of take away the seam of the ribbon. And so I'm just going to put glue on the back of it. Don't put so much that it seeps out and, you know, shows up all outside of your bow. If it does, it's not that big of a deal, but it doesn't really take that much glue to get it to stick. Now, when you put it on, your ribbon's going to be all flattened out again, and it's not going to look great. And you just don't worry. As long as you're getting that glue on and you're letting the glue dry, don't worry about fluffing up that bow. That's something you can come back and you can do later once it's dried out. So I'm going to work on this second bow, and I'll go ahead and do that on camera. Just if you want to see it again, I'm just tying it just like I would tie my shoe. Although that's even funny because I know there's like so many different ways to tie your shoe. But I just kind of pretend like I'm tying a lace without that first knot, and just doing the same thing, just maneuvering around. I think that's the key, is to know it's never going to look good at first. So it takes just a lot of pulling and twisting and resizing the loops and resizing the tails and kind of getting that knot in the middle straight, pulling your loops around straight until you feel like you've got that size and shape, you know, that you want. Once I start getting it kind of right, I do pull because I want to get that middle knot kind of tight. And then as soon as you do that, that kind of messes you up again, and you've got to kind of resize it. So it just takes a couple minutes. It doesn't take a long time, but I always just say don't worry too much if you do your bow and you think it looks horrible, because it's supposed to the first time. All right, we're going to cut the tails on this one and do the same thing. Now this one's a little different. You've got to consider, if you've got a pin, a rolling pin that has a long word on it, if you run your bow the same way like we did on the boo, you are probably going to cover up your word. So look here, I'm going to actually show you. I'm going to put it on. It's not a big deal because I can, pull it back off here. I'm going to put the glue on, and we're going to put it on. This is just, you really want to put your bow onto your pin before you glue to make sure you like. So look how this is just covering up that word trick, right? So that's not really gonna look great if when you look at the rolling pin you can't see your letters. So you kind of want to think through that on both of your pins, like what angle you might want your bow to face, if you want it to be more at an angle so it's not covering up the words. And so why don't we go ahead and take a look at that. Just by putting this bow at a little bit different angle, you're going to be able to see it a whole lot better, the words a whole lot better, without even changing the bow. So that's it. That's our mini rolling pin project for Halloween. These rolling pins are so much fun to make. You'll see me come back and do them again at Christmas. I'll probably do some for fall. Again, I love my tier trays, and I think these mini rolling pins look so cute in those, or really any other kind of holiday decor where you're looking for things kind of at a smaller scale. If you found anything helpful in today's video, I would love it if you would take just a second and tap that like button. And again, if you are interested in DIY projects and think you might be interested in more of my videos, I'd love it if you tap subscribe and hit that bell button, and then you'll get notifications anytime I upload a new video. Thanks so much for watching. Bye.